It would actually make more sense to have Super Rouge. You know, Rouge the Bat, if she turns super, that'd be cool. That would actually make sense because she's a hunter for the Chaos Emeralds. She's able to fly. She's like a mutant too with the bat wings and all that shit. You know, she's fought with like her feet. She kicks and shit. Amy just always had a weapon. She just had a hammer. That's how she would fight. And it's just like, you know, it makes more sense that there's Super Rouge. What's next? Super Big the Cat? You know, might as well. It's just as absurd and ridiculous. It's just as much of a joke. Now my rant about Sonic Superstars, the new Sonic game. Everyone's talking about it. I have to admit, it does actually look pretty cool, but I got a lot of gripes. Well, first of all, let's talk about this title. I mean, how boring are you? They're so lazy with these new titles. Sonic, Mania, Sonic Superstars. What? It's so generic. There's no point to it. Superstars? I mean, okay, like, what does that say about the story? Nothing. Ridiculous. Another thing is, like, they have this new campaign where it's like, Sonic and his friends. You know, Sonic and his friends. They keep doing that shit now, and, like, I heard this argument where this one person was talking about Sonic, and the person was saying, has the Sonic series has become too cute nowadays? I agree. It has. Like, all the stuff that they do now with Sonic, it's too cutesy. It's supposed to be badass and, like, intense. And, like rock music and shit. Like Crush 40. It's just too, like, tinny and cutesy. This isn't fucking Mario. It's fucking Sonic the Hedgehog. This is pig shit. I hate this. It's too cutesy. And, like, the trailer for the game was passable, but they had, like, all this, you know, text on the screen that was like, now you can play with Sonic and your friends, yippee! I mean, it's too bubbly. Now, it's pretty much like a rip-off of New Super Mario Bros. Wii, where like 4 people can play the game at the same time. But that's okay, it's cool. It's cool that it's, you know, being done with Sonic this time. But we've seen the levels, right? Same shit. Same design. Not new shit we've seen before. They try to make it seem like it was different because the graphics are like a 2.5D or whatever the fuck. Like it's 3D looking, but it's also 2D. That's not fucking okay. Like it looks okay, right? But they try to make it seem like it was different, like in the gameplay where the character goes in and out of the background, like through the loops and shit. Yeah, but that's not anything we've seen that's new. They used to have that on fucking Virtual Boy. That's not that fucking special. Oh yeah, that's the big difference this time. Woo! Oh my god. This is like passable shit. It's not stuff to be like, praised to the high heavens that Sonic fans praise it to be. What are we praising? The fact that Sonic has become safe? Sonic was never about being safe. Sonic was always about taking risks and running as fast as fuck. Even during the Dark Age, they kept switching the ideas of the games. They gave Sonic a sword. They went him to Arabia. You know, they had him do the hoverboard stuff, and, you know, they gave Shadow a gun. That's Sonic as a game series. It always tried to be different and be creative and badass. This is like playing it safe, and you know, I don't like that because that's like fucking Mario. Mario always plays it safe. All the time. Nintendo always plays it safe with Mario. I mean, these days. Back in the day, they didn't always play it safe with Mario. Like Super Mario 64, that was a risk. It could have been terrible. It could have ruined Mario's reputation. But they decided to be brave and try this new frontier, and it was excellent. The same thing you can say about the Sonic Adventure games. I love the Sonic Adventure games. I want Sonic Adventure 3. I'm tired of classic Sonic, and I'm tired of returning to 2D Sonic. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to play him anymore. I don't want to see it anymore. It's not moving forward. Like, for a 2D game series, there's only so much shit you can do that hasn't been done before. It's limited. 2D games are limited. 3D games are not limited. You can do so much more with them. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are like some of the greatest Sonic games ever, and there's no reason you can't return to that. We want Sonic Adventure 3. That's what we want. That's what we've always wanted. It doesn't gotta be perfect, but make a great game. Get the same people that worked on Adventure 2. Whoever's that's still around, get them in there. Now I want to talk about how they ruined Sonic in the 2010s. when they ruined his character. So Sonic was going through his menopause era, you know, the Dark Age. In the pit of the Dark Age, 2009, Sonic Colors comes out. It passes, apparently, with flying colors because everyone loves it, apparently. Well, I don't. Yes, the gameplay is fine, but the problem with Colors is the fucking character change to Sonic. Sonic turned into a fucking asshole, and I hated what they did to his character in the cutscenes for Sonic Colors. Pissed me off, and it was a step backward. It wasn't being true to the character. You know, Sonic was always like a douche, but he was a douche with charm. You know, he's like Shawn Michaels in WWF. You know, he's a douche. He's a douchebag, but he's a charming douchebag. And he was like a douche in the 90s and the 2000s also. But he was so cool, and he was funny, and he was a badass. Then they just turned Sonic into just a douche. He was so annoying in Sonic Colors and all those cutscenes. They like destroyed his character. They like stripped away the charm of him. He didn't have any charm anymore. It was horrible. I hated watching those cutscenes in Sonic Colors. It was an abomination to me. But yet the game kept getting praises all the time. Look, the cutscenes are extremely important to the Sonic games. It's not just about the gameplay. It's about the characters and the integrity of the characters. You know, if I hate the new version of Sonic, why do I want to play as that new version of Sonic in the gameplay? First of all, it doesn't seem like the same character. And second of all, I hate the new version of the character. So why would I want to play the levels with him? You know, it's like, it makes you reminisce, like, oh, I want to play Sonic how he was, you know, during, like, the Genesis era or the Dreamcast era or whatever. And then, you know, they made Tails a really boring character in the 2010's Sonic games. Another thing is, like, Generations. I think for Sonic Generations for its time, it was pretty good, but it got way too much fucking praise. And I hate that they kept, you know, classic Sonic around. That whole thing was like out of desperation. They put their heads together and they were like, well, let's make a game that feels personal to the fans. So let's put, you know, the Sonic from two different eras together. And it was okay. It worked for its time, but it's not a great game. It made sense for the time. Like, it was an interesting idea to do one time, but classic Sonic should have never returned. He wasn't supposed to stick around. That was just supposed to be a special game for, like, Sonic's anniversary that year, or some shit. Classic Sonic's not supposed to be around anymore, and that's another thing that's a fallacy, too, by the way. Classic Sonic and modern Sonic are the same character. They always were. The whole idea of saying that Sonic has changed over the years as a character was always false. The games changed, but the character never did. It was still interesting that they did it in the one game. But the other ideas that the fans had about Sonic being different now than back then, that was never true. It was always just... Everybody's super